Reform didn't just make a mistake with the numbers, they invented an entire reality to keep you angry. You suspect that politicians tweak stats to suit their narrative, but Zia Youssef isn't just tweaking, he's actively farming your outrage with fabrication. The villain here isn't the EU or even the government. It's a political machine that treats you, the taxpayer, like a gullible mark who won't check the receipts. And what are the stakes? Well, you're making decisions about your country based on a fantasy world where standard contracts are punishment and imaginary billions are being stolen from your pocket. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the Farage Clause he seems to be screaming about doesn't really exist. So let's look at the interview. Youssef sits there, calm, collected, sounding like he's the only sane man in the room. But when you actually open the books, the competence dissolves. Take his opening swing. He claims Keir Starmer is negotiating a Farage Clause, a punitive fine designed solely to punish a future reform government, if they leave the deal. He sells this as a personal attack on Nigel Farage, a weaponised penalty by foreign bureaucrats. It's garbage.
To leave, and in doing so now he's negotiating something that the EU is literally calling, to the Financial Times, a Farage Clause, which is a clause that would apply punitive fines on the UK if a future government of the United Kingdom chose to unwind.
Here's the reality. The clause he's hyperventilating about is a standard reciprocal exit clause. It's in almost every major trade agreement. It says that either side, the UK or the EU, if they cancel the deal, that side covers the cost of putting the border checks back up. That's not a fine. That's not persecution. That's how contracts work. If you cancel your gym membership, you don't get to keep using the sauna. Youssef is trying to convince you that paying for your own administrative cleanup is a democratic outrage. It's childish. Then he pivots to welfare. This is where it gets ugly. He looks at the camera in the eye and tells you that the British taxpayers are handing over $6 billion a year in universal credit solely to EU nationals. He says that reform will stop this on day one. It sounds tough and it sounds decisive, but it's also a lie. It's another 350 million on the side of a bus kind of lie.
If the European Union are looking for a Farage Clause, boy, we will give them a Farage Clause. How about terminating all welfare payments to foreign nationals, including EU nationals? The British taxpayers, people watching this show, are paying £6 billion a year in welfare payments, just universal credit payments alone, to EU nationals every year. We'll stop that on day one.
That 6 billion figure, that covers households where at least one person is from the EEA, and that includes households with British spouses and British children. He isn't talking about sending money to Paris, he's talking about cutting support for British families because one parent has a French passport. Furthermore, most new migrants can't even claim universal credit because of the no recourse to public funds rule. And he knows this, but I suppose we're starving British kids doesn't really have the same ring to it. He doesn't even stop there though. He claims he's going to demand a refund of 800 million from France.
How about we ask Macron and France to give back to us the 800 million pounds that the Tories and Labour have paid them to supposedly stop the boats, all the while Macron laughs at us because every single year that this country has been forced to pay that money, what's happened? Illegal crossings across the channel have moved to record levels. How about that as a Farage Clause? You know what?
Except we haven't paid France 800 million. Since 2014, the total is closer to 700 million, and the deal he's referenced was about 476 million over 3 years. He's rounding up by 100 million pounds just to make the soundbite pop. It's lazy. If you're going to be a party of competence, maybe buy a calculator. And then the hysteria about democracy. He claims Starmer is cancelling elections for millions of people. Cancelling.
He despises democracy too. Why? Because he's cancelling elections for millions of people in this country.
What's actually happening? The government postponed specific local elections in places like Essex and Norfolk into 2028 because council are restructuring. It's an administrative delay. It happens. It's annoying. Sure, but is it the death of democracy? No. But honestly, it takes some serious brass neck for Zia Youssef to lecture anybody on democracy. Let's not forget, he represents Reform UK Limited, which isn't structured like a democratic party. Private business. Nigel Farage didn't face a vote to become leader. He just took the keys. The membership has zero power to vote him out. He is, for all intents and purposes, the dictator of his own fiefdom. So when Youssef screams that you are living a dictatorship because of a council scheduling conflict, he's projecting. He needs you terrified of Starmer so you don't notice that the only leader in this story who can't be removed by a vote is his boss.
Threw open the borders and let an unprecedented number of people, around 4 million people in a short number of years, aka the Boris wave, largely from non-EU countries, largely to come here to not contribute and actually to be on welfare and to be dependent. So of course people are looking at that and going that isn't what we signed up for. But look, democracy has to mean something. But now look, I don't think Keir Starmer is going to be prime minister for much longer. I mean, you may have seen that there's already a Labour MP who is threatening to trigger a by-election if he doesn't row back on his attempt to rob British people of their right to jury trials. I mean, look, it's hard to even keep up right now with what Keir Starmer's doing. He's cancelling elections for millions of people. He's trying to rob British people of their right to jury trials. He's trying to ban X. He's presiding over a police force that is arresting and jailing people for speech crimes.
He throws everything at the wall. He claims the government is robbing you of jury trials. The proposal is to have minor offences, the stuff that clogs up the system, heard by magistrates so the backlog clears. Serious crimes still get juries. He claims migrants are coming here mostly for welfare, when the data shows that 69% come for work or study. And again, they can't claim the benefits he says they're stealing. This is the playbook. Take a boring standard piece of governance, like trade exit clause or council restructuring, and paint it as a grand conspiracy against the people. Youssef isn't offering solutions, he's offering you a persecution complex. He wants you to believe the world is rigged against you, that the EU is out to get Nigel, and that foreigners are eating your lunch money. The reality is much more boring. Trade deals have exit clause, and migrants come here to work. But the boring truth doesn't get clicks, and it certainly doesn't get votes. They lie about the small stuff so they can sell you the big lies later. But if you think Youssef's imaginary Farage clause is bad enough, well, you should see how Farage will act once he gets the keys to number 10, because he's already given you a glimpse, which you can see in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.